the amazing Beth Cosi.
All right, so if you hear a little shake in my voice, it's just because I'm cold, not nervous, and that's a big fat lie. So welcome, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. And the first thing we're going to do to get started is I'm going to ask everyone to please stand up. Get on your feet. So if you have something in your hand, it will be easier for you if you put it on the floor or on your bench, but I'm not going to call you out. You don't have to. All right, so I'm just going to assume that most of you have not stretched this morning at all, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to get a nice big morning stretch in, and you've been sitting long enough, and it's cold as hell. So that's what we're going to do. So if everybody could just close your eyes for a moment. And if you're uncomfortable closing your eyes, then you can just gaze down at the floor. All right, so everybody just take a nice big breath in, like a whole body breath. And breathe it out. Good, and I'd like for you to do that one more time on your own. You'll take a big breath in, and then you'll breathe it out. Nice job. So you can keep your eyes closed or you can open them. But I want you to start to roll your shoulders. So you can roll your shoulders around in one direction. Good. And then you're going to do it with your breath. So you're going to take a breath in when your shoulders go up and back or up and forward. And then you're going to exhale as they round down. And you'll do that one more time. Good. Do it. And then you're going to take a breath and reach your shoulders up into your ears and hold it there, like squeeze like they're earrings. And then you're going to exhale and drop them or press them down. Good. That feels good. One more time. Inhale, shoulders up into the ears, squeeze it. And then exhale, down they go. All right, so you can open your eyes or keep them closed, but your arms are going to reach up towards the rafters, towards the ceiling. And you can look up. It's quite beautiful, actually. It's like a boat, right? So you're going to reach up through your fingers. And I want you to imagine that your ring finger is the longest finger. So you're reaching up from your ring fingers. You're pulling your ribs off of your waist. Good. Get taller. Take a breath into it. This looks awesome. And then exhale, the hands come down. And then we're going to side stretch, and that's it. Okay? You're doing great. All right. So one more time. Reach up to the ceiling rafters. Good. Take a big breath into the whole shape. And then you're going to take a lean to the left. So just take a lean to the left. Good. You'll get to know your neighbor if you don't already know them. You can give them a little tickle or a wave or a high five. Bravo. Now bring it back up to the center and take a nice breath in, full body breath, and then take it to the opposite side. Good. Say hello to your other neighbor. Play nice. Come back to the center, take a breath. And exhale, your hands will go down. Very nice. So if there's anything you want to do before you sit down, because it's cold, feel free to do it, right? You can jump around or whatever. So I typically take my shoes off because that's where I'm most comfortable, but it's way too cold. So I'm not going to do that. All right. So thank you again so much for being here and for welcoming me. It's nice to be here. So I'm going to just say quickly how I landed here, how I arrived here today. So at the end of every year, usually around in December, I start thinking about my past year, like how it was, like the fails, the successes, the things that went really well. And I took a little time to do that in December. And when I looked back on my 2017, my personal and professional, it was really good. Lots of successes, lots of moving forward. For me, that's kind of what my intention is in this lifetime, is just to keep moving forward. So I was feeling really good about it. So I decided for 2018 not to make a resolution or to make a promise that I probably may not keep, but instead to make a big ask. And so my big ask of 2018 was to bring it. It's like really bring it. And for me, what that meant was experiences and opportunities to make me go bigger, to kind of pull me out of this comfortable space that I had worked really hard to create for a long time, and was enjoying. But it was time for me to do something that made me scared, that would bring on a little anxiety. So I'd put that out there. And then, by God, Yvonne sends me an email and is like, hey, we'd love to talk to you about coming and being a speaker for Creative Mornings. And I was like, sure, that'd be great. This is going to be awesome. My intention is, my promise is coming to fruition right off the bat. And so at the first week, we chit-chat, and on our last conversation, we're kind of, making the nails in the coffin. He says, and the theme is anxiety. And immediately I was like, what? I didn't know there was going to be a theme. No one told me there would be a theme. Because when there's a theme, there's like an expectation, right? I'm like, oh, fuck, I've got a plan for this. I've got to, I can't just go off the cuff like I like to do. And I thought in these seconds, while he's still talking to me on the phone, I'm thinking, I can't do this. He has absolutely asked the wrong person. I can't do it. I'm not going to belong up there. I know all these amazing people, though, mentors and friends of mine who are the experts of anxiety. And I'm going to reach out to them and make this connection because I love to do that. And then all of a sudden I heard that voice in my head, these stories of scarcity, right? And those stories of scarcity that really, those are the things that trigger anxiety, I think, for a lot of us, certainly for me. Do I belong? Am I enough? And I was thinking, hell no. But I noticed them. And then I started recognizing that feeling in my body that was anxiety, right? Oh, I'm hot, I'm sweaty, I'm getting edgy, I'm angry that he even asked me to do this. And then I took a breath and I breathed it out. And I was like, I got this. And then that was about 7 seconds. And I said, Yvonne, I'll see you there at the end of the month. I can't wait to be there. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So that's my little anxiety story. And maybe that you can relate to it a little bit, right? From those stories of scarcity that we carry around sometimes from the very beginning, right? From when you're a kid. So I do have a question for everyone. So if you don't mind raising your hand, who in this room has practiced yoga before? Who's ever done any yoga at all? Okay, great, good, well, welcome. And so how many people in this room have practiced yoga, who feel like they practice yoga regularly? And whatever, regularly is your definition. I'm not gonna put that out there, right? Okay, great, well, welcome. All right, so I'd like for everyone to close their eyes again. Good. And if you don't want to close your eyes, you can just look down at the floor in your lap and just take a moment here to find your breath again, just your own comfortable breath, just to give yourself some space to really be able to answer the question to yourself when I ask it. Okay, so if you have never done yoga before, if you're one of the several people in the room who've never practiced yoga, or maybe you've practiced yoga once or a few times, but you haven't done it in a long time, like you never went back, why? And there's no right or better answers. Why? And then if you're one of the crowd who said, yes, I practice yoga regularly, why? Why do you keep coming back? Good. So you can open your eyes again. So I think, and it's pretty interesting, that the reasons, it's like the same side it's an opposite side of the same coin. I think that the reasons that people don't go to yoga, or they go and then they don't come back, are very similar to the reasons that people go to yoga. And it's that feeling of belonging, right? Do I belong? And so you may have those questions like, I've never practiced yoga, or I didn't go back because I didn't feel like I belonged there. And there's lots of reasons for that. I don't want to put on the fancy tights. I don't want to join. They were humming something that sounded very odd to me. There's lots of reasons. Or maybe it's because I'm not enough. I'm not flexible enough. I can't touch my toes. I can't do yoga. I love that. I hear it all the time, right? Or maybe I'm not enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not a woman, right? We have all these stories. And those are the same stories of scarcity that we have when we start to call anxiety, right? So that's why I think that yoga and the practice of yoga is the absolutely most perfect thing to bring into your life if you've ever experienced anxiety. And I mean, we all have in some way, right? General anxiety for all kinds of reasons. So considering these stories of scarcity, I think that it's important to not just think about the stories, but what it does to your body when you feel anxious, right? So I'm not an expert on anxiety, and I'm not a doctor or a therapist, but I can speak from my own experience and what I've witnessed, right, in students and friendships. There is parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, right? So your sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight. It's when you get sweaty palms, when your heart starts to raise and beat faster, your blood pressure rises, your eyes actually dilate, your breathing passages actually widen, but the breath is shorter, so you can, get ready to go. So it's for fighting, it's for fleeing. It's those moments when you need to be on quickly. Not a bad thing, right? Your stress hormone, cortisol levels rise. Not a bad thing. But what the bad thing is when it happens repeatedly. When you are in fight or flight every day for blocks of time, when it becomes a very natural place for you to kind of live in, and then you find that it's hard to sleep, it's hard to turn it off, and you don't really know what to do with all of it, and you're edgy. And really, to be honest with you, it's hard to really think, like this wide view, right? It's hard to feel comfortable. And then the opposite of that is your parasympathetic nervous system, and that is your rest and digest. It just immediately makes me calm. So your rest and digest is when your body temperature can lower, your heart rate slows down, your organs for digestion and elimination soften and relax, so you function better and you feel better in your body. It's where we recuperate and we heal and we rest and we can sleep. And I firmly believe it's the place where we are able to give and receive love much more freely, right? We're open. We see that wide view. Okay, so science tells us, and I'm not making this up, that yoga immediately, even if you've done it one time, even if you did it in front of the TV and it didn't go well, that it moves you from your fight or flight into a rest and digest state almost immediately. It's like magic. It's like a button, a switch. But if you do yoga more regularly, whatever that means for you, whenever you can show up to it, then your body starts to remember because it wants it. So it's like you've stepped into this pattern of a new way of responding instead of just reacting. Okay? So I have something on a card I'm going to read to you because there's no way in hell I would ever remember this. Da-da-da-da. All right, so this is your brain on yoga. Okay, this is from a medical journal. I got to turn to the light so I can see it. All right, so your brain on yoga. Yoga affects brain levels of gamma aminobutyric acid, or GABA, a calming neurotransmitter associated with neuronal receptors targeted by anti-anxiety benzodiazepines. Okay, so basically that means that your brain on yoga is a very calm brain. It's a calm brain. And how does yoga do that? I think it's because it stabilizes and then it calms you. Like that's the medicine of yoga. Okay, stabilizing and calming. All right, so I'm going to get you to close your eyes again. And I want you to just kind of move your head forward and back or side to side, or move around in your shoulders a little bit. Can be nice. And I want you to take a big full breath in and fill your body up with your breath. And then let it go. Good, finding your breath. So you can either keep your eyes closed or you can open them. But I want you to think about when I ask the questions of if you do yoga or if you don't do yoga, and why. Was it one of those stories of scarcity or both? Do I belong and am I enough? Because, yoga is a practice of loving kindness. And what that means is you're really offered through your practice this amazing skill set. And the skill set is being able to recognize those stories in your mind when they're coming, right? That seed of story before it starts to move around and spread, and then noticing when it lands in your body and how it feels. And then also, this yoga of loving kindness offers you an anchor. And those anchors are your breath and your body, which could be through movement or stillness or just noticing. And then also mantra. The mantra is just a word or a link of words that when you apply meaning to them, they have immense power. One of my favorites is, I am breathing in, I am breathing out. And the other is, I am enough. I got this. So if your eyes are closed, you can keep them closed. And if they're not, if you, again, could just close your eyes for a moment or let your gaze come to your lap. And I'm going to offer just a very short practice. This is something that I do with a few of my corporate clients through a boardroom yoga experience. So it's seated, usually with ties or dresses and lanyards on. So you can do it. Okay. So everyone, please notice your feet and place them well. And then I want you to notice your hands. And I'd like for you just to notice where they are, facing down, facing up. Are they clasped? Are you hugging yourself? Are they dangling? And place them well. Or if they feel well placed, then notice that. And then I'd like for you to relax your face. And what does that mean? It means you really let all the tiny muscles, even the softness behind your eyes, expand and relax down your face and around your jaw and then through your neck. And then you feel your shoulders fall, the length of your arms, the heaviness of your torso, the commitment to your seat. Even if you're standing, that's your feet. And then I want you to take a full breath into your whole body. Breathe out, whole body. Good. And I want you to take a moment to feel how you feel, whatever that is. Whatever it is. If you're distracted, if you are feeling pleasant, if you are hungry, if you're thinking about what's happening next, be there. And then I want you to know how that feels in your body. And then you're going to take another breath into it. You're going to take a full inhale here. Hold it at the top, please. And breathe it out. Good. And then we're going to add a mantra. So your mantra can be either I am breathing in, I am breathing out, or it can be I got this, or one that you'd like to create for yourself. A word or a link of word that has meaning and therefore power. All right? So on your next breath in, you're going to pull the breath in. You're going to pull it in through your nose. And when you breathe it out, you're going to find your word. So these stories of scarcity, do I belong, and am I enough, that are the breeding ground of anxiety, you can tame that. You can calm it. You can smooth it away through these practices of loving kindness. You have all the tools. You've done it now. And one of the things that I'd like to leave you with today is that the stories of connection and acceptance are the stories that you'll find through yoga. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Beth. You're very humble. Do you want to talk a little bit about your own project? Let's get that up there. What is this all about?
So Bindi Brewski, who's? Thank you. I hardly ever use a microphone. It's really a lot easier. Whoa. I am not the best with self-promotion. It's true. Like, I love the stuff I do, but you're right, so thank you. So Bindi Brewski, how many people have been to a Bindi Brewski class? Yay! There's a few of you out there. Good. So if you've never been to a Bindi Brewski class, a little bit about who we are. It started here in Charleston, South Carolina, more than 6 years ago, about 6.5 years ago. And the New York Times did in 2014, it started in 2011, but in 2014 said that we are the innovator of the yoga and beer trend that now is worldwide. So it's kind of like, what? But it's really cool. And if you've never tried yoga, or you think that yoga doesn't belong in a brewery, you are mistaken. It is so great to go to a brewery and be amongst like-minded people, right? A lot of them that you do not know, but you know you've got at least two things in common. One, that you're curious. You're a curious person. And second, you like beer. Or if you don't like beer, then you love breweries, which is cool. So, but we practice, we have 3 classes a week, and that are very consistent, and they're lots of fun. Those are at 3 different breweries around town. And then we have some special events. We have one that's coming up on Valentine's Day, which will be a lot of fun. And then we usually have something in a distillery a couple times a year too. So they're really great. You can find all that information online at my website at either bindibrewski.com or bethcosi.com. They're interlinked. We have an Instagram and a fantastic Facebook page. So check us out there. It's Facebook, /Bindi Brewski, which is pretty awesome. Let's see what else is going on. So I started a new series, which is yin and therapeutic style yoga at a fantastic place called Locomotion Fitness. They're fairly new to our community. They're near Park Circle and Sproul. And they're a bunch of badasses with really big hearts. And so I'm really happy to start a yoga program with them. So if you're ever interested in really learning about yoga, or if you've got some injury, or maybe you really just work really hard all the time, and you need something a little bit more slow and deep, then those are the classes for you. You can drop in, but the series are nice. And if you have any questions about anything, so if I don't know you, I would love it while I'm mingling around, if you don't have to, run out. I'd love to be introduced. I'd love to introduce myself to you, because that really is what it's all about. That's what I love, is making connections, and being a part of the community. Charleston's been so brilliantly kind to me. I'm a Memphis, Tennessee native. I've been here for 18 years, and I love the grit and grind of Memphis. It certainly is a part of who I am. But Charleston's amazing, which I know you all know. But I don't know if anybody has any questions for me about anything. Yes? In yoga or with Bindi Brewski? So the question was what inspired me to start Bindi Brewski and what I was doing before. Is that right? That's a great question. So I was a new yoga teacher. I'd only been teaching a couple of years before Bindi Brewski. And when I went through the teacher training program, my intention was not to become a yoga teacher. I was a single mom with 2 children, and I needed to make money. So yoga was just going to be something that I did for myself. But I was really good at it, and I kept getting these offers, and I would take them, but it just was never enough, right? So I was waiting tables at Evo Pizzeria. It's awesome over there in Park Circle. And one of my good friends who was slinging beer, Chris Brown, he had a dream, and I had a dream. My dream was to be able to teach yoga full time to people that was really, and my intention was for food and beverage. I've been in food and beverage a lot in my life. And they would never come to the studio. Even if I said that was for free, they just wouldn't show up because they didn't feel like they belonged there, right? So, but they'd always be like, oh, my shoulders, Beth, oh, my back, I've been picking up these kegs, help me. And so Chris Brown, his dream was to open up a brewery, which is called Holy City Brewery. And he said, well, once I get the blue floor in, if you want to come and bring some of our food and bev people there, let's do it. And it started as simply as that. So it was really like 2 good friends who had dreams, who both like beer. He did not like yoga, but he likes it now. And he was one of my very first students that had, a big beard and, walks around like this all the time. And he was like, my back, I feel so much taller. So that's how this started. And then we started inviting more friends, and then partners, and then kids started to come. And then the next thing you know, this is when it was on Monday nights, because the breweries in those days were not restaurants and really bars. I mean, they had a very limited amount of hours and no food. So every Monday we'd get 60 to 80 people in there. It was crazy. It was awesome. And that's when I realized this is something that people want. They want to do this. So it just started to expand. And then the awesome, I have that awesome elephant logo who I love. He's reminiscent of the Ganesh. He's not a Ganesha, but he's reminiscent of the Ganesh. And the Ganesh in yoga is the remover of obstacles. And if you know his story, he's really awesome. He's a Hindu god that actually has an elephant head and a boy body. And he's very playful. He rides a mouse. He has a great story. He's the remover of obstacles because he's just he likes to poke. He's really nasty in a way. So he also draws obstacles to him. So he just seemed like the perfect thing, the perfect emblem. And then we added the beer in the trunk and the little bendy and the hops. So Bendy Brewski Yoga. And I didn't bring it because, like I said, I'm terrible with self-promotion, but I do have I do have T-shirts and hats that are really awesome if anybody ever wants them. They're in boxes, usually in my car. But yeah, that's a great question. And then, so that was 6.5 years ago. It started in October of 2011 was our first class. And we're just going strong. We're going strong, and and it's amazing to me how many people have not been to a class yet. So y'all should come. You should come. They're really fun, and they come with the beer. And if you don't want the beer, you can just do the yoga, right? It's really fun. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments or anything? All right. Well, I guess that's it then. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everyone.